Adam Cole adjusted his tie as he walked through the airport, briefcase in one hand, phone buzzing in his pocket. Another meeting in Chicago, another deal to close. His life ran on precision. 40 minutes until boarding, just enough time to skim through documents and reply to a few emails. Efficiency was his ritual. Then something brushed against his leg. He looked down and saw a little girl, no older than 6, with messy blonde hair and wide blue eyes. Her pink dress was worn, her sneakers frayed. In her small hands, she clutched a white envelope. "Are you Adam?" she asked, her voice soft but steady. He froze. No one ever approached him at the airport, especially not a child. "I am." "Who's asking?" The girl held out the envelope. "My mom asked you to read this." Adam took it, unsettled. His name was written on the front in handwriting he knew instantly. His heart skipped a beat. He opened it carefully. The letter inside had only a few words. "She is your daughter. I need help." The message blurred as tears welled in his eyes. 7 years since he'd last seen that handwriting. 7 years since the final argument, the slammed door, the silence. He looked at the girl again, the same blue eyes, the same eyes that haunted him in sleepless nights. "What's your name?" he asked, his voice trembling. "Mia." "And where is your mother?" "Mia?" "At home." "She couldn't come." Adam glanced at his watch. 35 minutes until his flight. The Chicago deal was worth millions. 6 months of negotiations hung on this trip. He looked back at Mia, waiting calmly, as though certain he would choose her. His hand shook as he pulled out his phone. "Sarah, cancel the Chicago trip," he said firmly. "What, Adam? Have you lost your mind?" "The Medina. It's a family emergency." He looked at Mia, clutching her teddy bear. "Now I have a family." He ended the call before she could argue. "Let's go," he told Mia. They took a taxi. She gave the address without hesitation. A child her age shouldn't know directions so well. "Did you wait at the airport all day?" he asked. "Yes. Mommy said you always take the 6 o'clock flight." Adam's chest tightened. Olivia still knew his schedule after all these years. The ride was quiet. Mia stared out the window, hugging her bear. Finally, he asked, "Do you like stories?" "I do. Mommy tells me stories every night. About princesses and people who get lost but then find each other again." Her words stung. At last, they reached a rundown apartment building. Mia led him upstairs and unlocked the door with a key she wore around her neck. Inside, the place was tidy but humble. Books scattered and children's drawings taped to the walls. Medicine bottles covered the table. And there she was, Olivia. She looked fragile, thinner than he remembered, pale with tired eyes. Yet when she met his gaze, those green eyes still carried the same intensity. "Hi, Adam," she said softly. For a moment, silence filled the air, heavy with 7 years of distance. "You sent me a child with a note saying she's my daughter," he said, emotion breaking through his voice. "How was I supposed to react?" Olivia motioned for him to sit. "She is yours. I found out after we broke up. You were consumed with work back then. I didn't tell you because he'd broken bar. I thought it was best." Adam shook his head, torn between regret and anger. "And now, because I'm sick, Adam." The words hit him like a blow. "How sick?" "Very. I can't work anymore. Mia had to stop going to school to take care of me." Adam's throat tightened as he looked at his daughter, a child forced to become a caregiver. "That ends today," he said firmly. "You're not alone anymore. Neither of you are." He arranged for a taxi to the hospital, ignoring Olivia's protests. At St. Mary's, tests confirmed what he feared: Olivia had advanced cancer. The doctor insisted on urgent surgery followed by chemotherapy. Adam promised to cover everything. Later that night, he brought Mia to his penthouse. She marveled at the size, at the silence, at the fridge bare of drawings. "Mommy always puts my pictures on the fridge," she said quietly. "We'll fix that," Adam replied. She had never tasted pizza, never had new colored pencils, never slept in such a big bed. Everything was new. At bedtime, she asked him to read a story. He admitted he didn't know how. "Then I'll tell one," she said. Her tale was about a lonely man in a tall tower and a little girl who arrived at his door. At first, he didn't know what to do, but slowly she taught him, and together they built a family. Adam's chest ached as he listened. "Did you like it?" Mia asked, eyes wide with hope. "I loved it," he whispered. "The best story I've ever heard." She smiled. snuggled into bed with her teddy, and drifted off. Adam stayed beside her, watching. For the first time in years, he felt something he hadn't allowed himself to feel: a belonging. Tomorrow, everything would change. But tonight, he knew one thing for certain: he wasn't leaving. Not this time. The next morning, sunlight streamed into Adam's penthouse, casting a glow across the room where Mia slept curled up with Teddy. Adam watched her for a moment, amazed at how peaceful she looked despite everything. He wasn't used to having someone else in his home, Mia especially not a child, but for the first time, the silence didn't feel empty. When Mia stirred awake, she blinked up at him. "Good morning," she said softly, still holding her bear. "Good morning," Adam replied. "Hungry?" She nodded shyly. He realized with a pang that his kitchen wasn't stocked for children. After a clumsy attempt at scrambled eggs burnt around the edges but edibly, they sat at the dining table. Mia ate slowly, politely, and Adam couldn't help but notice she never asked for more, even when she clearly wanted it. "You don't have to wait for me to offer," he said gently. "If you're hungry, eat as much as you want." She looked at him as if weighing whether she could believe him, then finally allowed herself a small smile. Later that morning, they went to the hospital. Olivia was still weak, but when she saw Mia, her whole face lit up. Adam stood by the bed, awkward but determined, while Mia chattered about the castle in the sky she had stayed in last night and her name for Adam's penthouse. Olivia's eyes softened. "She likes being with you," she whispered when Mia left the room with a nurse. "She's my daughter," Adam replied, his voice breaking. "I should have been here all along." "You were building your empire," Olivia said tiredly. "I didn't want to stop you." Adam shook his head. "None of it means anything without her, without family." The doctor entered, reminding them surgery was scheduled for Monday. Time was running short. Adam held Olivia's hand, and for the first time in years, she let him. That evening, he took Mia shopping. She marveled at everything: new clothes, shoes, colored pencils, books. She clutched the bags proudly, her eyes shining. At dinner in a small restaurant, she tasted pasta for the first time and giggled at the way the noodles slipped from her fork. Back at the penthouse, Adam showed her the empty refrigerator. "I think it needs your artwork," he said. Her face lit up, and she immediately taped one of her new drawings to the door. The kitchen suddenly felt warmer, more alive. That night, before bed, Mia asked, "Will Mommy get better?" Adam knelt down so their eyes met. "We're going to do everything we can, the best doctors, the best treatment, and no matter what happens, I'll be here, always." "Promise?" "Promise." She smiled faintly and snuggled under the covers. "Then I can sleep." Adam stayed by her side until her breathing grew steady. Then he stepped onto the balcony, staring at the glowing city below. For years, it had been his kingdom, his battlefield, his prize. But standing there now, he realized something: that his empire meant nothing compared to the little girl sleeping in the next room, and the woman fighting for her life in the hospital. For the first time in 7 years, Adam knew exactly where he belonged. Monday arrived like a storm. Adam paced the hospital hallway while Olivia was wheeled into surgery. Mia clung to Teddy and to Adam's hand, her small fingers tightening every time a nurse passed by. "She'll be okay, right?" Mia whispered. Adam crouched to meet her eyes. "The doctors are the best there is. They're going to help her get better, and I'm not going anywhere." For hours, they waited together. Adam had closed deals worth millions without breaking a sweat, but here, in this sterile waiting room with its humming fluorescent lights, he felt helpless. Every minute felt like an eternity. At last, the surgeon stepped out. Adam rose so quickly his chair toppled over. "She made it through the surgery," the doctor said. "It was difficult, but successful. The next 48 hours are critical, but she's strong." Mia burst into tears of relief, and Adam pulled her into his arms. "See?" he whispered into her hair. "Your mommy is a fighter." When Olivia was moved to recovery, Adam and Mia sat by her bed. Olivia looked fragile, pale against the hospital sheets, but her breathing was steady. Mia climbed onto the chair beside her, holding her mother's hand. "Mommy, you did it," she whispered. Olivia opened her eyes slowly, weak but aware. Her gaze shifted to Adam. "You stayed." "Of course," Adam said. "I told you, you're not alone anymore." Tears welled in her tired eyes. For the first time in years, there was no anger between them, only the fragile, tentative beginning of something new. The following weeks tested Adam in ways he had never imagined. Olivia began chemotherapy, each session draining her more. Mia struggled between hope and fear, and Adama, who had once lived for contracts, flights, and late-night negotiations, and now found himself learning how to braid hair, pack school lunches, and tell bedtime stories. His world had flipped upside down, and yet, for the first time, he felt whole. One evening, after putting Mia to bed, Adam returned to the living room where Olivia was resting on the couch. She was thinner now, her strength fading in waves, but her eyes were steady as they met his. "You've changed," she said quietly. Adam sat beside her. "I had to." "Mia deserves more than the man I used to be." "And me?" she asked softly. Adam hesitated, then took her hand. "You deserve everything I should have given you 7 years ago and more. If you'll let me, I want to make it right. Not just for Mia, for you." Her eyes filled with tears. She didn't answer right away, but the way her hand stayed in his told him enough. In the silence of that night, with the city lights glowing outside and Mia sleeping peacefully down the hall, Adam realized something he had never allowed himself to believe before. He wasn't just building a family, he was finally coming home. The weeks turned into months. Olivia's treatment consumed most of their days: hospital visits, blood tests, long hours in waiting rooms. Chemotherapy left her weak, often too exhausted to speak, but every time Mia walked into the room, she found the strength to smile. Adam, once the man who measured his worth in contracts and deadlines, now measured his days in small victories. Mia laughing over ice cream, Olivia eating half a bowl of soup, the three of them sitting together, even in silence. But outside their little bubble, the world of business was losing patience. Adam's company began to suffer. He had cancelled meetings, delayed deals, and ignored partners who once depended on his precision. Rumors swirled that the great Adam Cole was slipping. One evening, after tucking Mia into bed, Adam returned to the living room where his phone buzzed with messages from his board members. The Chicago deal, once the crown jewel of his era, was falling apart. Millions were at stake. "Adam," Olivia's voice broke the silence. She was sitting on the couch, pale but awake, watching him. "You're losing everything." He set the phone down, rubbing his temples. "None of it matters compared to you and Mia." "It matters to you," she said softly. "It always has." "And if you lose it all, will you resent us one day?" The question cut deep. He knelt beside her, taking her hands. "Olivia, listen to me. I walked away from that world the moment Mia handed me your note at the airport. The only deal that matters now is the one I make with you and with her. I'm not leaving." Her eyes filled with tears, but this time they weren't just from pain. "You sound like a different man." "Maybe I finally became the man I should have been." The next morning, Adam made a choice. He called an emergency meeting with his board. Standing at the head of the long glass table, he announced, "I'm stepping back." Effective immediately, the room erupted in shock, questions, protests. But Adam remained steady. "My priorities have changed. This company can run without me. My daughter cannot." And with that, he walked out, not just of the meeting, but of the life he had built brick by brick. That night, back at the penthouse, Mia showed him a new drawing. 3 stick figures holding hands under a bright sun. She had written one word above it in shaky letters: family. Adam pinned it to the fridge, his throat tightening. For the first time in years, he didn't feel like a man losing something. He felt like a man finally gaining everything that mattered.